Well, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Dr. Soul Brother again, coming at you with another episode with Dr. Soul Brother. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope you found my last episode informative, because that's what I'm about. I'm about remedying certain ills, and we have to recognize that as a people we are ill. And in order to get better, we have to have the right type of medicine. So this is where Dr. Soul Brother comes in. I want to address something that is of real trouble with me, and that is this latest controversy with Nick Fuentes, a well known white supremacist, and these black women who are swirler types. Um, Nick Fuentes is not somebody who um, would be, you know, a person who is suspected to be a white supremacist, racist, bastard. He is that. He's an open racist bastard. Okay. As a matter of fact, truth be told, Nick Fuentes and the alt right Richard Spencer. If you don't know who he is, look him up. You might even want to watch an interview that Roland Martin did with him when he was on TV One back in I think 2016. Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer, an alt right, and Nick Fuentes are fraternal twins. Truth be told. Okay. And Richard Spencer doesn't fool me. He tried to play dumb when he was on Roland Martin show, but he's not. And I take the position it is a complete waste of time trying to have a dialogue with people who are racist to the 10th power. Okay? That should be left for those white folks of conscience who give pushback to racism. You should leave that for them to deal with. But that's a conversation for another day. Um, it's interesting to notice that uh, it was a great controversy. I don't know recently regarding Pearly Things, the white woman who also is a racist. When she was defended by some black men in the black manosphere in the manosphere, um, it was a great controversy, and people were right to drag those black men. However, it needs to be noted that it's interesting, and let's be clear. She was dragged because she had Nick Fuentes on her show, who was clearly a white supremacist racist bastard, and exhibited some of his racist rhetoric, and yet um, people jumped on her rather, over his racist attitudes that he was allowed to exhibit. Now it's interesting that some of the black women who jumped on him or jumped on her, some of them uh, were real quiet regarding this recent thing with these black women who are all on his jock, as we used to say back in the day. They were jocking him and encouraged him uh, to use the word nigger. They encouraged him. Now, the question you have to ask is, what was that about? Why would any self respecting black person, male or female, encourage, I won't just say a white person, but a non black person to uh, use that kind of language? What's up with that? What's all that about? Okay. I've been around people of all stripes and hues, and I can tell you right now, it's a matter of fact that there are non-black folks I've interfaced with, worked with, etc., who would never do that. But we've seen with us, we do it over and over and over again, and we open the gate for disrespect to come through, and that's the fact. But here's the point. Um, um, it's interesting that the truth of the matter is, and this is gonna sound controversial what I'm about to say, but the truth of the matter is that some black folk really don't have a problem with white racism. I'm gonna say that again. The truth of the matter is, there are some black folk who really do not have a problem with white racism. And this is how this works. When a situation, a crisis, a tragedy takes place, let's say George Floyd, for example, George Floyd murder that took place 3 years ago at the height of the pandemic, the first year of the pandemic, the country was up in arms. Black folk took to the streets, white folks took to the streets, and other people took to the streets. Rightly so. I salute all of them for this. But see, what I've come to discover on this journey is that our relationship with white folks is tantamount to that of a disgruntled lover. What do I mean? Say you got a situation where a woman comes home, she discovers that her man has been messing around, creeping on her, messing around on her, got a woman on the side. She gets either whether she busts him in the act or discovers some kind of way that he's got a side piece. She breaks out the house, gets in her car, goes to her mother's house. Um, she kind of clear her head. She calms down, returns, and is back to business as usual. That's our relationship with white folks in this country. Okay, that's a fact. That's not a theory. That's not hearsay. That's not an opinion. These are the stone cold facts. Okay. Now, here's the other thing that's interesting. Um, some of these women, and I'm getting on them. Some of these women are walking contradictions. What do I mean by that? In one side of your mouth, you're going to come off as being, what am I trying to say? Coming off as being pro-black, but your pro-blackness is one-sided. Example: you will give the impression with your rhetoric that you will that you're pro-black, meaning that are you have the black race best interest at heart, the black race, only to discover it's one-sided. And by that I mean you're really looking out for the interests of black women. In fact, you will defend black women who are dead wrong, wrong as the day is long, as it relates to their outlook when it comes to black men and their outlook when it comes to white men. And somebody like a well-known racist like a Nick Fuentes, who clearly makes it clear, abundantly clear, what side of the fence he's on as it relates to racial issues, and you're going to um, twerk on him and be all on his jock and all that kind of stuff, now your credibility is shot to hell. It really is. And while I'm on it, I need to explain in brief the history of the swirling. We need to be clear. Swirling goes way back, way, way back. And I think our sister, Ches Shard, I hope I'm not mispronouncing her name, but I believe that's her name, did an excellent job recently on a very good presentation. You all should check her out if you're not aware. Check out her channel where she goes into this. So because she went into some of this, I'm only going to go into what I'm going to say in brief. But this thing goes way back as far as swirling. Now you might not have had the term swirling back in the day, but this existed. Um, there were times when the black woman was always the white man's woman. Okay, and I'm talking about during slavery, during post-slavery. Now let me address slavery real quick. When I say that, I'm by no means trying to overlook the fact that black women were violated on the plantation. That's well documented. Those are facts. But I'm not talking about those who were victim of unlawful entry. I'm talking about those who got with the white men um, for all kind of gains, and it spilled over into post-slavery, and that spilled over into today. So when you have things like movies like Something New, which I've always said the title is very misleading because that relationship between the black woman in that movie and the white guy who she was messing with, who by the way was not a professional. He was I think a gardener or some kind of landscaper or something. who was um, not on the same sheet of music with her financially, but yet he was given a pass. And you all know good and well, had there been a brother in that same position, um, he would have been discouraged from getting with her to the point where there would have been a consensus that he's beneath her, and why should I lower my standards? But that's kind of a conversation for another day. I'm not going to go too deep into that because that's a movie I frankly cannot stand for a host of reasons. But here's the point. Um, if you watch, if you look at people like James Baldwin, this is Fannie Lou Hamer, and Malcolm X, just to name a few, all three of them are on record. Hear this, on record, going in and being critical and citing black women who willingly got with white men during their lifetime. James Baldwin addressed it, Fannie Lou Hamer addressed it, Malcolm X addressed it. And thank God we have recordings of them going into this. So I'm not just pulling this out of the side of my neck. This is real talk. Okay? And they addressed this back in the 1960s. Let's be clear. But also, or in addition to what they had to say about this, you also had movies. And you had movies. The fact that the movies I'm about to cite to you are fictitious is beside the point. For example, there was a movie called The Liberation of L.B. Jones that was filmed in 1969 down in Tennessee, I think it was, and was released March of 1970. It's based on a novel that was written in 1965 by a man named Jesse Hill Ford. And it goes into how this black woman, you watched the movie, played by Lola Falana, and Roscoe Lee Brown played her husband. And the wife was messing around with a white cop, um, who was really a white trash cop and a racist bastard on top of that. She was messing around with him and had the nerve, the unmitigated gall to say to her husband something to the effect of, "You're not half the man that he is," or something to that effect. Which I guess in her crazy mind that was supposed to be a dig. But anyway, um, this man was an entrepreneur, and yet she got with this white man. Not only a white man, but a racist white man on top of that in this little town in Tennessee. I would encourage everybody to watch this movie. In fact, if you want to, one, you could get it on DVD, or if you want to, you can go to YouTube and watch it whenever you get ready, unedited. Okay? I saw this movie many, many years ago. Again, it was filmed in 1969 and released in March of 1970. Then you have a movie done in 1971 called The Bus Is Coming. And The Bus Is Coming takes place in Los Angeles, and it's a fictitious story, but again, that's beside the point. The point is, it takes place in Los Angeles, and there's a militant organization by the name of the Black Fist. And the Black Fist it's like modeled after the Black Panther Party. And you see them with the free breakfast program and all the rest of it. And you see these brothers in there who are militants within the organization, and you see these racist cops who are harassing them, who they refer to as the pig. And then you see, um, well, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but you see um, a black woman in the movie who clearly has contempt for black people. And you have to see the movie for yourself I don't want to go into spoiler, but that too is a movie that you can watch on YouTube. So I would encourage anyone under the sound of my voice to watch those films. In fact, I would not only encourage you to watch the films, I would also encourage you to expose your children to this madness. And it is madness. See, because all this stuff that's going on right now, again, is nothing new. It's just a continuum. And the worst part about it is it's being celebrated and it's being done under the guise of black men are no good. And as a black man talking, I take umbrage with that notion. I'm not sitting here saying that black men should not be criticized legitimately. Legitimately, I'm not saying that black men are not um, above reproach. What I am saying is black men and black women are victims of a white supremacist myth that has invaded our minds. And as one man said, uh, there's a white person in your psyche that you refuse to evict. So that's what's going on here. But as far as this Nick Fuentes situation, this is truly a disgrace. And I don't care who these black women are. I mean, some people say, well, those are foreign black women. Well, it's a combination of both. Because the fact of the matter is, uh, you have black women who swirl, who are from Africa, the Caribbean, or from here, who do that and have no pride, have no shame, no dignity, no nothing when it comes to this sort of thing. So that needs to be acknowledged and addressed and ultimately abolished. Okay? So, Nick Fuentes, you are a racist bastard, and it needs to be clear, Mr. Nick Fuentes, that we see you. And it also needs to be made clear that those black women who decided to be jocking you the way they were, they're not in their right minds. They're not in their right minds, and um, I hope and pray to God the day comes where you have more people who begin to wake up and come out of this, um, as somebody said, a trance. I don't know what you want to call it, but if you want to call it trance, that's fine. But they need to snap out of it, and this addiction to a white supremacy, because um, anyone with any dignity, self-respect, would not be gravitating towards you. Okay, and the fact of the matter is, Mr. Nick Fuentes, um, we got issues with you, and you need to stay away from us. Okay, you need to stay away from us and stay away from our women. And again, you need to watch it because one of these days you're going to come up on somebody who's going to seriously check you. Okay, seriously check you because that's a problem, and others of that ilk who are like you. So you need to really watch yourself because that's a problem. That's a real problem. So I'm gonna wrap things up because again, I think that Shez said a lot more than I could say on this subject matter, and I think that there needs to be more black women speaking like Chez. Okay, that needs to happen. So I want to publicly salute her, and hopefully she'll subscribe to my channel, and we can connect and all the rest of it. But I want to salute that sister publicly for the work that she has done and continues to do. But at the same time, I think it's also important that you hear from a black man who does not and will not tolerate this kind of craziness. Will not tolerate. So those black women who chose to be white supremacists in blackface, you need to atone for your sin. You need to atone. And anybody else who wants to fraternize and collude with any of these white supremacists, um, there needs to be a time when you are totally isolated from the rest of us because you have committed treason. You've committed treason. And that's the point I'm trying to make to Mr. Nick Fuentes. See, um, you're okay with black folks who commit treason. But if or when the day comes when enough black folks give pushback to you and act like you don't exist, that's when you know your stuff don't work no more. Okay? It doesn't. So this man is thoroughly disgusted with what I saw. And I also recognize that some of the motivations behind some of these women getting on just pearly things is because you have a problem with the white woman. You don't have a problem with the white man. Yes, I said it. And that's real talk. And the reason why you don't have a problem with the white woman is because ultimately you are in competition with her over her man, and you are trying to be her. And it exists in how you look physically, the way you wear your hair, the way you try to talk like her, all of those things. So you need to engage in some self inventory and or lay out on a therapist's couch for real, and trust and believe. Nick Fuentes and others of the ilk don't have no respect for you. Why would they? How could they? So this I'm gonna end right now. And um again, I want to salute Ches. Ches, you're doing a really good job. We appreciate and salute you, and God will bless you. I'm telling you now, God will bless you for what the work that you have done and continue to do in our community. And it is times like these where people like the James Baldwins of the world, the Fannie Lou Hamers of the world, the Malcolm X's of the world, we will not forget them. And we will resurrect them every chance we get, especially for this younger generation who don't know them, who really don't know them. They don't know James Baldwin. They don't know Fannie Lou. They don't really know Malcolm X, even though there was a movie, motion picture that was done on him, and that was great. That's all. That's all. That's good. But that was just a version of Malcolm X. That was not the version, the whole story. So, in closing, I want to say to everyone, thank you for listening. You like what you heard, hit the subscribe button, hit the likes. Please hit the likes. I need all the support I can get. And until the next time, God bless. This is Dr. Soul Brother signing out now. Peace.